you're braver than you know, and the woman you meet, your future self already exists. And so she's holding her arms out, and she's going to catch you when you take the leap, but it's up to you to take the leap.
You know that feeling when you already know something, but you're just not ready to deal with it yet? Maybe it's a friendship that's been on life support for 2 years, or maybe it's a job that is slowly killing you inside. Or maybe it's your health and you keep telling yourself you'll get serious about it next month. Here's the thing. You already know, and you've known for a while. Lisa Steadman has spent her entire career studying why relationships work and why they don't. She's a USC film school grad who wrote 5 best-selling books on breakups and dating before she went back to screenwriting and directing. Her latest short film just premiered at Cannes. But this conversation isn't about any of that. It is about what she's built in her 50s once she started actually listening to what she already knew in her relationships, her career, her health, and what she's learned about herself through her work. Let's go back first.
Yeah.
What possessed you to write about relationships, and what did you learn about relationships from writing about relationships?
Oh my God. Well, okay. I mean, if we're going back, my mother made me her marriage counselor when I was 12.
Okay.
I literally remember the moment she came in my bedroom. We were living in Saudi Arabia at the time, and I was still playing with Barbies. I was a late bloomer and wondering why Barbie and Ken were having breakups and affairs and all these things. And my mom comes in and is like, your dad doesn't love me anymore. And I started to cry, and then I started to solve her problems. Started to solve the problems. So I've basically
as a 12-year-old does.
Who had never kissed a boy, they had no experience. I was like, wouldn't the next door neighbor lady who's like your best friend be a better person to talk to about this? So I've been studying relationships since then, so like 40 years. Yeah.
The reason I wanted to go down memory lane is because, in my opinion, and you could tell me if you believe differently, a relationship is a relationship is a relationship. Whether it's with a loved one, a girlfriend,
you're still
coworker, you're still, right? Friendships in midlife.
Woo.
I want to talk about that today.
Oh my God, I love this topic. I have lots to say about it.
I think it's difficult to make friends. Let's just say over 40, over 45, we're both in our 50s. You feel passionate about making friends.
Yeah.
You built a friend group after 45. Like, tell us, our God here, like, how did you do that?
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer to everything in life. I swear, I learn my lessons slow. I repeat the same things over. I mean, I make a lot of the same mistakes over and over. But I will say the one mistake I finally learned, I met my husband when I was 32. And I thought that was old at the time. And now we've been together 21 plus years. And he is like my favorite human on the planet. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this human. But there were a lot of years that I felt like we didn't have a social circle. We had friends, but no one ever invited us. We always did the inviting. We always did the initiating. And I felt butthurt about it. And then we raised our niece for a decade. So every weekend was dedicated to raising a child. So we didn't have any friends and we never went out. And because we were raising our niece and she wasn't our child, it was an interesting dynamic in that we had a few friends that were parents with kids who were friends of our niece, but it wasn't like a whole social circle based around her. Right. So it was a very interesting dynamic. And then something happened. So around the pandemic, she went home and was like, I want to be home now more. And we were like, it's always been your choice. So around the pandemic, we started to have a social life, but it was the pandemic.
Yes.
So
you're free to have friends, but now you're locked down.
So we started doing a lot of Zooms with friends that we had known but hadn't been able to really have quality time with because we were raising a child. So it's really been post-pandemic that our social life is on fire. And I would say in our main circle of friends, there are a handful of people that have been around from the beginning. And when I think about who those people are, oh my God, they're all my husband's friends. who become my friends.
That's typical. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're friends that we have cultivated together. People from my work, and neither of us work there anymore. And now we're besties with the husbands too, and then like friends of friends that we already knew. So it's been a hodgepodge. People I've met at networking events where I'm like, I really like you and I'd actually like you in my friend group. And hey, I just found out we're neighbors. And then our neighbors are our friends. So I would say 90% of the people that we socialize with now, we met after the pandemic.
Do you think that you were always open to making new friends, or did you kind of change after the pandemic?
I think we both changed. So when I met my husband, he still is, but more specifically used to be very black and white. And it was based on childhood trauma. So like he chose who he let in. He let me in really easily. So I assumed he was like that with everyone. He was like that with no one. So we would go to parties and he would go stand in a corner by himself. And I would be like chatting with people and I'd be like, who's that weirdo in the corner? I was like, oh, that's my husband. So he's
my weirdo.
Yeah, he's my, and now that man has, I know it's an outdated term, but riz for days. I mean, he is charming as fuck. And I'm like, oh, he's fully himself with everyone now. I love this version of him.
That's cool. Yeah. So you talk about networking events. You talk about obviously work. People meet work friends, neighbors. If someone were listening and they're like, I'm 50 years old and I have a hard time, because I work from home. I mean, I'm lucky that most of my friends are long-term friends that,
and I envy
and
that,
it ebbs and flows. And
I envy that. And I know so many people who've had friends for years. I'm not that person. I have one college friend. Yeah. I had dinner with him a couple of weeks ago. I love him. I adore him. One, though. I have one high school friend. And, we wish each other happy birthday every year, and that's about it. So here's the other thing, and I'm just going to out my own trauma. I was the kid who moved all the time. My parents were teachers. They taught internationally. So we were in Australia and then spent 7 years in Saudi Arabia and then came back to Montana, where I'm from. And I had the very painful experience of leaving Montana when I was right after first grade and coming back in 8th grade. And I remembered everyone and no one remembered me. So I have a lot of
torture.
Beliefs about I'm not memorable, I'm not whatever. So I've also kind of, for a long time, curated a life where people could be expendable so it wouldn't hurt. Now I'm in a place where, and my husband taught me this because he lost his father when he was 12 and did not say goodbye. And he taught me from the day I met him, love in every moment like you never are going to see that person again. And don't worry if it hurts when they leave. Love them so much it doesn't matter. Love them so much it does hurt when they leave. And so I've learned over the years to do that. And I think that's why now I have a really solid friendships, because I'm not holding people at arm's length going, you're going to leave anyway. So what's the point,
Yeah. That's really interesting. So if you were writing a book today on making friends.
Yes.
What would you tell another woman?
Oh God. What would I tell another one? I know.
How could she make friends?
What I would say is, where do you go in your life that lights you up? Is it Pilates or yoga? Do you go to the studio? My husband's a cocktail guy, so he says every Thursday he'll just text a bunch of people and be like, y'all, this is where I'm going tonight. Come meet me or not. And if no one meets him, he talks to strangers. So here are the challenges of midlife for some people. If you are really set in your career, you might not be going to networking events. If you're really set in your life with your marriage and your kids, you might not be going to places where you meet new people. So you're going to have to challenge yourself to meet new people, or look in your existing circles to see who maybe you just haven't made time for, whether it's at church or at your kid's soccer thing. For me, even at 54, I'm still really excited about the world. So I'm constantly going out and meeting new people and having new experiences, because that's my personality. I am exhausted by it, but so I take refuel time, but I love it. I need to constantly be learning. So I'm always meeting new people. And some people just flit in and out. And then other people are like, God, you're really solid. And I really want to hang out and I really want us to be friends. And sometimes they're like, bye. And sometimes they're like, I would love that too.
Totally.
I think it's about taking risk. I think it's about saying, hey, could you and I go for coffee, just the two of us, rather than in a bigger friend group? Could we?
Yes.
Here's my thing also is I really transitioned my let's go for cocktails to let's go hiking, because I really started changing how I treated my body in the pandemic. And I was like, I don't want to eat all that sugar or drink all that sugar. So now I give people different options, coffee or a hike. And if you don't like a hike, I'm happy to go for a walk with you. But like, let's make it something where I'm not guzzling booze and numbing myself. And don't get me wrong, I still love my cocktails, but I'm just being so much more conscious about the choices I make. And I think that also informs the friendships I have. Yes. I have a woman that I've known for years. She's been in many different cities. So she's finally back in LA. And we make a hiking date every couple of weeks.
Yeah. So you make a good point. So sometimes when we evolve as people, like for me, it was when I stopped drinking, or it could be if you lose weight, or it could be what you feel is a positive change in your life.
Not everybody's on board.
Yeah. Sometimes they're not on board, and sometimes they take it personally, like it was some sort of affront to them. Have you been in that situation?
I have. So I had two really close girlfriends, and we were kind of a trio because we all worked together. So I used to brand entrepreneurs. One of them was a photographer, so I would bring all my clients to her. I would art direct photo shoots. So I spent a lot of time in studio with this woman. And I had another friend who was a stylist, and I would bring all my clients to her. And then I hired both of them for myself as well. So I knew these women really well. We did a lot as a trio socially. We did a lot as a trio professionally. And when I moved into my house in 2017, one of those women reached out to me and was like, I really need to see you. And I blew her off because I had to go to Norwalk every day and try and get some paperwork signed to get this house. And like, it was a nightmare. And I broke out in hives. I was so stressed about it. And in hindsight, I found out she was going through a divorce. And I was in such shame that I had not been there. The person who writes about breakups was not there for her friend, that I avoided her rather than dealing with it. And then the pandemic happened. And so I still didn't talk to her. And then after the pandemic, I said, shame on me. And I reached out to her and we had lunch. And I said, I owe you a huge apology. Can we come back to each other? And she is one of my favorite people. We went to Paris last year together. Like, I'm so grateful she forgave me. She owned her side of the street, which was nothing in my opinion. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. And she's like, well, I want to apologize for this. And I was like, forgiven. So the other person in the trio, I didn't know was mad at me. We had lunch like pre-pandemic, and then I didn't hear from her. And I sent her a Christmas card. I would text her. I would call her and leave messages, and she would never get back to me. And that kind of happened. So I was giving her slack. And then I realized maybe this is personal. And so I reached out to her one more time. I said, hey, did I do something? And then I got this voice memo. So she chose to use her voice, which I'm grateful she did because it really told me where she was coming from. It wasn't even what she said. It was how she said it. She was like, well, I am shocked to hear from you, but I would consider listening to your side of, like, it was so angry. And I listened to it and I was like, she's had a story for years about me, and I probably can't rewrite that story at this point. But I did respond back and said, wow, just hearing your voice lets me know that I really hurt you and I'm really sorry. What can I do to make this right? And I didn't hear back. And then we were at the mall and my husband saw her and her husband. I didn't see them. He told me later. So then I messaged her again. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad. If you saw me, I'm so sorry I didn't see you. And I just want to tell you, in my friendships, my friends tell me what I do wrong so I can fix it. And I would love that opportunity. And I can't remember if she responded to that or not, but whatever happened from there told me it was unfixable.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. This is somebody that I love and would never want to hurt. And so the fact that I hurt her, but then I couldn't make it right, that was like a double whammy. But it also told me a lot about her, and maybe she has some of that, like my trauma of like, I'm forgettable, so don't get too close. Like, who knows? Like, I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on her side.
What about on the flip side? Have you ever broken up with someone else?
Yes. Yes. And that person, that was painful too. I had a friend that I adored and he adored me. And the summer I met my husband, I had moved out of my condo and rented it out. So when I met my husband, I was living on this friend's living room floor on a blow up mattress. I knew I was going to get another apartment. It's just that's where I was living at the moment. And I ended up moving in with my husband. And this friend somehow thought that I was betraying him by doing that and read me the riot act, like just vitriol, and I'd seen him do this with other friends and other friends forgave him, but I was never going to let someone talk. I mean, this was a nasty person. And so when he got nasty with me, I stepped away. And I remember I would get these hateful messages like, be careful who you step on the way up because the ride down is bumpy. And I was like, what have I done to you? You know,
Do you think he was interested in you? Do you think like...
No, he was gay. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Definitely not.
What's interesting is that person circled back when I left my corporate job last year. So 20 years later, this person circled back and was kind in the first message he left me. But I know who he is and what he was asking from me. He needed a favor. And I messaged back and said, I'm not available to do that favor for you. So the second voice memo I got from him was the exact way he had been before. You're nasty and evil and awful. And what happened to you? And like, just because you lost weight and are making it in the world, you think you've made it. But I mean, it was just like.
Wait. To talk to me about that. Like, so you lost weight. And so that was part of why he thinks you were.
I don't know, because I haven't been in this person's life for 20 years. I guess he was watching me on social media. And yes, I did go on GLP-1s. And yes, I did lose weight. And yes, I was very intentional about that. And I made a conscious choice to do that. And it was right for my health. And I don't regret that. And I don't begrudge. I don't tell anyone what to do with their body. But you're going to hate on me because I made a choice so I could hopefully live longer. So that was even 20 years later, hearing all that stuff get kicked up again for him, which then kicked it up for me again, was really painful. I went into like a funk. My husband's like, you got to let that go. And I was like, I will, but this really hurts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that is a common situation, whether people use GLP-1s or not.
A lot of people feel betrayed. Like, where's my drinking buddy or my eating buddy gone? I get that.
Yes. So it sounds like you've had breakups, friendship breakups that are like, we're breaking up, and others that are just sort of like the quiet drift, like the quiet quitting.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're both painful, but like.
They're both.
What do you think is worse?
Well, I'm a communicator, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So I would rather you tell me to my fucking face. Like, I would rather you're like, this is what happened. I didn't like it when you did this. And I can either make it right or I can't. I can't like fix things for everybody, but I'd rather you tell me so I can grow from it and hopefully repair. But if I can't repair with you, then hopefully I'll learn and not do it again. So yeah, the ghosting is, to me, the most offensive thing you can do is like ignore me. Like, my husband will put like earbuds in while he's gardening, and it drives me insane when I walk up to him and start talking and he can't hear me. And I mean, we've been together 20 plus years. I know this is happening, but I'm like, I hate being ignored.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate. And I have just people in earbuds all over my house. So yeah, I think that there's a level of grief that we don't talk about as women when our friendships end. We show up when we know about, like, a friend goes through a divorce or a death or something. But like, when we lose a friend, there's this grief that you just can't explain to another person who hasn't been through it.
It's so real. And here's another one. I think the pandemic made it more acceptable, anyway, for family members to quit family members. So my father and my sister are estranged. And if you had told me that 5 years ago, I would have been like, that will never happen in my family. My mother's dead. My father and my sister don't speak. So it's kind of like I don't have a family anymore because I have a father and I have a sister and I have a husband, but we don't all do holidays together. You know, like it's like, okay,
does it have anything to do with politics?
No, which you'd think it would. We all agree on politics.
Yeah.
That is their stuff to talk about. But I was shocked that that would ever happen in my family. And it's really been painful because I feel like an orphan. I have a dad and then I got a sister over here and then I got a husband and then I got a niece. And I would love to be the people that had the whole family come over, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not the reality in my life. And I've had to make peace with that. And I think maybe that's why we've had so much fun cultivating this friend group at this age, because those are the people that like come over and make it easy for Thanksgiving and easy for like 4th of July. And everyone's just, what can we bring? And there's no drama. And I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your podcast. Welcome to Midlife. Were you just like, I got to talk to some people or like, I need friends? Was that your intention?
I really think women suffer in silence in midlife a lot, not just about health, but about ageism at work, about how we feel about how we look when we look in the mirror, about what's happening to our bodies, about money. I think how you feel about where you are in midlife is directly related to how you feel about your health, your relationship status. Doesn't mean you have to be married. It could be you're happily divorced, and that's why you're happy about midlife. And then how you feel about your financial future. If you're stressed or not conscious in any three of those areas, you're probably in denial or struggling in midlife, because it sucks to wake up and go, I haven't saved enough. It sucks to wake up and go, I'm not healthy. It sucks to wake up and go, I don't have XYZ, a partner, or the freedom, or like I'm with the wrong person. Like these things really impact how we feel about ourselves on a daily basis.
That's such a good point. And I think in those areas as grown-ass women, we have to show up like you were and you are to have these conversations, right? You realize that it's not the number on the scale that's determines your health, right? And then we take the steps. I don't have to waste money doing these things when I could be setting 80-year-old me up for a better life. It's like this great combination, in my opinion. I'm just coming up with this, that you're living in the moment because you have more moments behind you than you do ahead of you.
So true.
And at the same time, you don't want to screw over that woman in 10, 20 years.
No. It's so true.
You know what I mean?
It's like finding advocacy for your future self.
Yes.
You know, I think it's beautiful to think about my 80-year-old self.
Right.
I want her to be thriving. I don't want her, my joke is I don't want her to be eating cat food. Yeah. And again, I'm going to be totally transparent. I didn't start saving a dime other than I had a condo, and that was part of the plan, and I'm grateful for that, until I was 40. So I felt very behind, and it's never too late. This is the thing. I don't want there to be shame. I want people to understand it's never too late. You can catch up. Will you have as much as somebody who's been saving or loving or in fitness for 20 years? No, but who cares? Focus on where you are.
Exactly. You know, I write in my journal. I try to every morning.
Oh,
and
I love
occasionally,
that. I aspire to be like that.
Well, yeah, I will say The Artist's Way, the book, The Artist's Way, that was like, I was in a group with some other women. So I do try to do, sometimes, I try to do 3, but I definitely get 1 done. Right. And one of the things that I do is I have conversations with my 80-year-old self. And
oh my God, I love
one
this.
time she told me in my journal, I'm not guaranteed. So whatever choices you're making today will not only determine whether I have a good life or not, it will actually determine whether I have a life or not. And I was like, it changed my life. A journal entry changed my life. And it's really hard to explain that to anyone because I was like,
real.
That is so real. And I just was like, you're right. I've got to make some choices, because you go anywhere and people are struggling. I've read, and I'm sure a lot of people have read, there was like some stat that came out years ago that was like, loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day or something like that.
Yeah. Mental health takes its toll.
Yes. And, not putting ourselves out there. I mean, I told my husband, I'm like, if you ever leave me, I'm moving 3 roommates in. I'm going to Golden Girls this house and we're going to have a great time.
My husband's and my joke is, if you leave me, I'm coming with you.
Oh, yeah.
But
no, mine is I'll become a Golden Girl.
To your point, I mean, women do outlive men. So I'll Golden Girls it up too. Like, and I say this a lot, like, I don't want to do another marriage. Like, I love this man, but I don't want to compromise again. Like, I want it to be all about me and my friends.
Exactly. He's like, are you asking me to leave? I'm like, no, honey, I want you. You're plan A. Yeah. I'm just saying plan B is I bring the ladies in. Exactly.
I love that so much.
So what have you learned about midlife and making it better through a podcast?
Well, to your earlier point about talking to your 80-year-old self, everything is a choice. You can choose to white knuckle midlife, meaning like I'm in hormone hell and I can barely stand myself and I'm just going to grin and bear it. Or I can ask for help and support and get hormone support. I can get therapy. I can change my relationship to food and drink and stress. Changing your relationship to stress as a perimenopausal, menopausal woman is the best thing you can do. There is no accident that heart disease goes up in our 50s for women. When we're not sleeping, we're not repairing. So like, we need to think about every choice we make. The other thing I'm going to say is, ladies and gentlemen, get a mobility practice, stretch, do yoga. Like, I don't care what else you do for your fitness, because fitness is so individual, but do something to improve your balance and mobility, because your 80-year-old self will thank you. I saw my 85-year-old father yesterday, who's still driving, still lives alone, still thrives independently, knock on everything. But the man has a cane, is hunched over, and can't stand for very long. And so I take that as a cautionary tale. My mother died in her 70s because she didn't take care of herself. My sister, who's a year and a half older than I am, broke her ankle walking her dog and had to have 3 surgeries before it was fixed. So I take all of those familial reminders that like everything is a choice. And we're never going to be perfect. I'm going to out myself. On Friday, I went out with some friends and, it was going to be a nice glass of wine outside. It turned into a night of partying and debauchery. I mean, it was a whole thing. Fortunately, I woke up the next day, was not hungover because I hydrated and I paced myself, but you got to live it up too.
That's the thing is, sure, we have to make choices, regular choices, but also life is short. Enjoy yourself. Like that whole Gen X way of being raised, of like all the sugar-free stuff that came out, all the, well, first it was fat-free.
So bad for us.
It was fat-free, then it was sugar-free. And it was just like, maybe you don't eat the whole cake every single time you have cake,
But still have cake.
Yes, exactly. I mentioned my 80-year-old self earlier. What I didn't say is that the journal entry scared me, not because she was telling me anything new. I already knew, but she was done letting me pretend I didn't. And that is exactly what Lisa did when she walked away from a corporate career that was by every measurable standard working, except for the part where it was making her sick. But now you're over 50 and you leave corporate. Most people would be like, ride it through because you're going to lose benefits. You're going to lose all these things. Like, what gave you, lack of a better term, the balls to take a leap at this point in your career?
Well, first of all, I might be an idiot. And I might never get a job again. So here's what I want to say about being in a privileged place. That condo I bought in my 20s that I moved out of because I ended up hating living, I bought it because I loved the condo, but I hated the area it was in. So I kept that condo for years. And during the pandemic, my husband and I were talking about retirement. I was like, even after it's paid off, we're still going to have to pay homeowners and property taxes and all these things. What if we buy something, a property that we rent out, there is no HOA and the property taxes are lower? So we did that. And so I bought a property, a duplex in Arizona, and then we bought a second one, and then we bought a third one. So part of the reason I'm able to do this is because I have passive income, and that's a privileged place to be. But that's not the plan. The plan was not for me to quit my job. That was for retirement money. So I still intend to work, and I am working. I've actually never been busier. I'm just not getting paid for all the work I do. So I still do consulting. I have revenue streams that I'm trying to bring in from writing. I made a short film. Not that that's going to bring me any income.
I'm sorry, but your short film that premiered where?
In Cannes, yeah.
Yeah, just in Cannes, just in France. Yeah, no big deal.
So this was not the plan. I was going to ride it out, but my health started to deteriorate because I was so unhappy. And so my 80-year-old self, I was never going to get to had I stayed in that role. So I had to make a choice for my 80-year-old self and this self. And I was privileged enough to be able to make that choice. I also save a lot of money because I was making a lot of money in corporate. So I was saving a lot. So I have savings. I'm fortunate because not everybody could do that. And I recognize that. This is
but
probably
even emotionally,
the first time I could do it.
Yeah, I think financially, some people can do it. There's like a nest egg of some sort. But like emotionally, I think we can sometimes be stuck at like, this is my identity. This is who I am right now.
Well,
how do I move into this other place? Like, how do I have the courage to make a movie instead of be in this corporate gig? What would you say to them?
Yeah, identity is real, but it's only as real as we make it. So I got very comfortable with my identity as a corporate storyteller who made a really great living and got a really great bonus every year and got really great matching 401k and got to go on whatever vacation she wanted to. Like, I got really comfortable with that identity, but there were a lot of sacrifices for her. And the sacrifices became too great. I am very thankful how it all worked out because I was going to make my short film while still in corporate. It just so happened that I quit. And then the snowball came of like, well, now we're making the movie at this date and this time. And so literally I quit. And my husband was like, are you going to take like a week off? And I was like, I'm going to go make my film. So like I started location scouting and casting. And so like I instantly had another job that basically took me through the end of the year. So I didn't slow down. But what I will say is you can always tell yourself you're not ready and it's not possible. I didn't think this life was possible. I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think I could emotionally handle the free fall of what I live in now every day, of not knowing if I'll ever get another job because I'm this age. But you know what? What I learned in crowdfunding for my short film was that I get to be brave. So I'm choosing to be brave, and I'm choosing to live in a friendly universe that will take care of me. And so far, so good.
And what would you tell another woman who is having a hard time, but she's ready to be brave? You have any tips?
I've taken that leap many times now in my life, and I've always caught myself. But of course, there's a free fall first. And I didn't know who this version of me would be, but I really like her, and I'm really there for her. And I've become her ride or die. Like, I used to really beat myself up and never give myself credit for anything. And now I am my biggest cheerleader and champion for the most part. I still have days where I'm pretty shitty to myself, but I've gotten so much better. And I think it's because I respect that bravery.
I love that.
Yeah.
Respect the bravery. Getting clear on what you want sounds simple, doesn't it? Until you realize how long you've been talking yourself out of it. That is the work, not the leap itself, the part before it, when you finally stop pretending that you don't already know. If Lisa's story and this episode hit something for you, send it to a friend who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to start getting clear on your friendships, your health, whatever it is, I'm right here. Reach out to me on social or hello@grownasswoman.guide. I'm Jackie McDougall, and this is the Grown Ass Woman's Guide. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, until next time, you are a grown ass woman. Act accordingly.